Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're heading straight into Paris, the legendary city of light.
Mm.
We've got a couple of great sources, a really dynamic video tour from Expedia, and also this handy 3-minute travel guide to Paris.
Right, nice and concise.
Exactly. And our mission, really, is to cut through all the information out there and just pull out the key stuff. You know, the insights that give you a real feel for Paris.
Yeah, the essence of it.
Its big sights, that unique energy it has, and maybe some smart ways to navigate it all. Think of it as your, shortcut to getting Paris.
Absolutely. Because Paris, it's more than just a city on a map, isn't it? It's an experience. It sparks something in, almost everyone.
Definitely.
And we're not aiming for just a list of facts here. We want to get at that underlying essence, What makes Paris so captivating year after year? Using these guides to figure out what truly matters.
Okay, so let's paint a picture. Geographically, we're talking northern France, right along the Seine River.
Yep, heart of the Ile-de-France region.
And it's big. Over 12 million people live there. So definitely a major global city.
Absolutely.
But that nickname, City of Light, it's not just about the streetlights, is it? There's something deeper there.
Exactly. It actually goes way back to the Age of Enlightenment. It was this incredible hotbed of ideas, intellectual energy.
Ah, right. Visionary thinking.
Paris became this beacon, and you could argue that light, that intellectual draw, it still pulls people in. I mean, think about it. 42 million visitors a year.
42 million. Wow.
It's staggering, really. Makes you wonder what fundamental thing Paris offers people.
That's more people than live in some whole countries.
Yeah.
Okay, so both our sources, they really push exploring Paris on foot. It's not just about, hopping on the metro between the sites.
Not at all. I mean, the metro's good, it's efficient, no doubt.
Sure.
But the guides really suggest that the true character of Paris, it unfolds when you just wander. The big attractions are actually surprisingly close together. And like the video shows, you turn a corner and it feels like you've just walked into a postcard. It's about soaking up that atmosphere, finding those little unexpected moments that aren't on any list.
Okay, so if we're doing that, strolling these postcard streets,
Yeah.
what are some of the key sort of orientation points, landmarks that help you get the layout?
Well, the video guide kicks off by showing La Défense. That's the modern business district, with all the striking new architecture.
Right, the contrast.
It's almost like Paris saying, we embrace the future too. And then it highlights this amazing 6-mile line, the historic axis.
6 miles.
Yeah, stretching from the super modern Grand Arch all the way back through centuries of French history. It's a really powerful visual thread running through the city.
And if you follow that thread, you hit some really huge icons, like the Arc de Triomphe. Napoleon built that, which tells you immediately it's not just an arch, it's a statement, right?
Yeah.
History, ambition.
Oh, definitely. There's a real sense of grandeur standing there. And it's amplified by being at the center of that starburst, those 12 avenues radiating out.
Yeah.
And the views from the top, they really give you a sense of Paris' scale, how those big boulevards knit the city together.
And speaking of big boulevards, the Champs-Élysées starts right there, doesn't it?
It does. Flows right from the Arc.
The Champs-Élysées? I mean, just the name, it brings up images of, life. Dining, fancy shops, theaters, big parades and celebrations too.
It really feels like the city's main artery, leading you towards those more formal gardens and grand buildings.
And it ends up at Place de la Concorde. Our guides mention that's the largest square in Paris. Why is a big open square like that so important in a city like this?
Well, it says something about the city's design, doesn't it? That intention to have these grand public spaces, these places for gathering. It's like a stage for history, and you can really feel the city's pulse there.
Okay, so shifting from the grand scale of the city layout to its connection with art, which is huge in Paris.
Yeah.
The Louvre.
The Louvre.
A former palace, 14th century, now the world's most visited art gallery. Over 35,000 artworks. That number is just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
How do you even approach that?
You can't see it all. That's the first thing. Both guides basically say that. It's less about ticking boxes and more about maybe connecting with a few key things.
Right, like the Mona Lisa, the Venus de Milo.
Experiencing the aura of those masterpieces.
Yeah.
And just appreciating the sheer weight of history in those halls.
And then, totally different vibe, you've got the Centre Pompidou.
The Inside Out building.
Yeah, that radical design. The video guide says it still sparks debate among Parisians. What's the deal with such a, bold building in such a historic city?
I think it shows Paris is willing to embrace the new, the avant-garde, to challenge norms. It holds Europe's biggest collection of modern art, so it's a deliberate contrast to the Louvre's classicism. Shows the city's relationship with art is still dynamic, still evolving.
Interesting. Okay. And if we head north, Montmartre. The guides talk about it as this legendary artist's hub. Picasso, Dali, Van Gogh, they all spend time there. What is it about a place like that concentration of creativity?
You can almost feel the ghosts, can't you? Wandering those little twisting streets. There's a sense of artistic history baked into the place. It's not like a sterile gallery.
Definitely not. And those streets, they eventually lead up to the Sacré-Cœur Basilica, right? That big white church on the hill.
That gleaming white crown, yeah.
The guides really stress the panoramic views from up there. What does seeing the city from that high up give you?
It gives you that overview, that sense of connection between all the different parts you might have explored down below. It's a moment to kind of visually put it all together. Breathtaking views of the whole cityscape.
And speaking of really significant sites, Notre Dame, on the Ile de la Cité.
A tough one now.
Yeah, it's obviously with the restoration after the fire.
Mhm.
But the guides still highlight it. Why is it still so crucial to Paris's identity?
Well, it was finished way back in 1345. It's this masterpiece of Gothic architecture. It's seen centuries of French history unfold, inspired literature. It's a symbol, isn't it? Resilience, enduring heritage.
Absolutely. And the island itself, the Ile de la Cité, it's one of the oldest parts of Paris. Good for those riverside walks the guides mention, connecting with the city's origins.
Right. And then, on a different note, historically significant but in another way, the Cimetière du Père Lachaise. A cemetery as a key attraction. It's intriguing. What does that say about Parisians and how they view the past?
It suggests this deep respect for legacy, maybe. Recognizing the impact of people who shaped the city and its culture. It's quiet, contemplative. You can connect with the stories of people like Jim Morrison, Oscar Wilde. It's a different kind of Paris experience.
Definitely a change of pace.
Okay, so let's shift gears towards maybe leisure, relaxing. The Luxembourg Gardens sound lovely.
Oh, thank you.
The Grand Basin, fruit groves, loads of statues and fountains. The video guide says you can relax there like a Parisian. What does that actually mean?
Huh. Good question. I think it means slowing down, savoring the moment, enjoying the simple fact of being in a beautiful public space, people watching maybe, appreciating the rhythm of daily life around you.
Sounds nice. And then there's the river itself, the Seine. The city's lifeblood, really.
Divides the city, left bank, right bank, all those bridges.
Yeah, 37 bridges. The guides mention Pont Alexandre III as being really ornate.
Gorgeous bridge.
And the Pont des Arts used to have all the love locks. But now it's known for views and artists and lovers hanging out. What role does the Seine play? How does it shape the experience?
It's central, literally and figuratively. It divides, yes, but it also connects with all those bridges. And the bridges themselves become viewpoints, romantic spots, essential links. It adds this layer of beauty and flow through the whole city.
And you can't really talk about Paris without mentioning the Eiffel Tower.
The icon, impossible to miss.
Both guides stress how you see it from everywhere. But what's the difference between seeing it, across the city and actually being right there or going up?
Well, being at the base gives you that sense of sheer scale, the engineering feat of it.
Yeah, it's huge up close.
And going up, those views are just unforgettable. It helps you orient yourself, see how the city fits together from a totally different angle. And then after sunset, when it sparkles every hour.
You had a light show.
It's pure magic.
Damn.
A little reminder of why it's such an icon.
So beyond the big landmarks, the guides also dive into the neighborhoods, the different vibes. Le Marais, for instance. They describe it as trendy, but also historic.
It's a great mix.
Boutiques, art galleries, old mansions, the Jewish Quarter, Place des Vosges. What gives a neighborhood like that its specific feel?
It's that layering, isn't it? Old architecture housing, cool, modern shops and galleries, history right alongside contemporary life. It creates this really vibrant, eclectic atmosphere.
Yeah.
And great nightlife, too, apparently.
Right. And then there's the Latin Quarter. Totally different feel, student energy, those cozy bookshops.
G. Spear and Company gets a shout out.
Yeah. Must visit. And it's near the Pantheon, the Luxembourg Gardens. Feels like a real intellectual hub.
Absolutely. It still has that youthful, scholarly vibe. You can picture philosophers arguing in the cafes, writers scribbling in notebooks.
And speaking of cafes, Saint-Germain-des-Prés, portrayed as this legendary spot for intellectuals and artists. Café de Flore, Les Deux Magots.
Where Sartre and Hemingway hung out.
Exactly. What's the pull of places like that now? Why do people still go?
I think they carry that weight of history, that sense of being where important ideas were born, where masterpieces were created. Sitting there, even just for a coffee, connects you to that legacy somehow.
Yeah, I get that. It all paints this picture of Paris as not just monuments, but this mosaic of really distinct living neighborhoods.
Each with its own character.
And then there's the culture itself, the Parisian way of life.
Yeah.
Our guides touch on this emphasis on just enjoying life, savoring it. How do you see that playing out?
Well, it's definitely in the cafe culture, that leisurely croissant and coffee in the morning, the fact that people watching is practically a recognized pastime. It's about appreciating the small moments, finding pleasure in the everyday stuff. And food, of course, is central to that enjoyment.
Oh yeah, the food, crepes, classic bistro meals like steak frites or coq au vin.
French cheese with wine.
And the pastries, macarons, chocolate eclairs, it's a whole culinary adventure.
You could plan a trip just around eating.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And for people who want to explore a bit further out, the guides mentioned day trips. Versailles is the big one.
Huge. That incredible 17th century palace, UNESCO site.
Just a short train ride away, apparently. The Hall of Mirrors, those massive gardens, it sounds like stepping into another world entirely. What does Versailles offer that Paris doesn't?
It's that sheer scale of royal opulence, I think. A tangible link to that era of French history. The grandeur there is a real contrast to the sort of urban intimacy of Paris.
Makes sense. And they briefly mention other options too, like Givery.
For Monet's gardens, yeah.
And even Disneyland Paris. So lots of variety, easily accessible.
Shows you how much is packed into that region.
Okay, finally, let's hit those practical tips. Best time to visit.
Spring and fall seem to be the winners. April to June, September to October. Milder weather, fewer crowds generally.
Right, summer can be hot and really busy.
Yeah. And getting around sounds pretty straightforward with the metro and buses. The Navigo Easy Card is mentioned as a good buy for visitors.
Smart tip.
And definitely the advice about the Paris Museum Pass for skipping lines at museums.
Oh, that's crucial.
And booking the Eiffel Tower and Louvre tickets way, way in advance. That saves so much hassle.
Essential planning right there. And maybe a small thing, but always important local etiquette. Just a polite bonjour or bonsoir saying thank you, merci. Makes a difference, doesn't it? Shows a bit of respect.
Absolutely. Goes a long way. Just being a mindful traveler.
So, okay, let's try and wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground, from Paris's roots as the city of light, through its massive landmarks, its art, its history.
Those charming neighborhoods, the food, relaxing by the Seine, even popping out to Versailles.
And we've got some solid practical tips now, too. It feels like, as the sources suggest, Paris really is more than just the sights. It's an atmosphere, right? An invitation to embrace life, maybe.
Yeah, I think that captures it well. An invitation to savor beauty, history, and just the art of living.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. We've unpacked all these layers: history, art, daily life, iconic views. Thinking about all that, what single part of Paris sparks the most curiosity in you right now? And what do you imagine actually experiencing that firsthand might reveal, maybe about yourself?